Hello and buenos dias, and welcome to Andalusia in southern Spain. Now, unless you've been living under a rock your whole life, you're probably familiar with the English phrase, living under a rock. We usually use it to describe someone who seems completely unaware of things that most people would know about. Popular culture, international news, that sort of thing. And even if English isn't your first language, chances are there is a similar or equivalent phrase in your language. So today we're asking the question, are there any circumstances where living under a rock would actually be an intelligent idea? And that's why I've come to a place where they literally do. This is the small town of Setenil de las Bodegas in south-central Andalusia, about halfway between Malaga and Seville. The town dates back to at least the 1400s, and it's built in a narrow gorge of the Rio Trejo, which is that river down at the bottom there. But what makes this place unusual is that when I say it was built in the gorge, I really do mean in the gorge. Setenil is famous for its spectacular troglodytic dwellings built directly into the rocky walls of the gorge itself. In fact, these people don't just live under a rock, they spend their day working in a shop under a rock, and when they're finished they take out some money from a bank under a rock, and then go for an evening meal in a restaurant under a rock. Of course, Setenil is not the only place in the world where you can see troglodytic buildings, but there can't be too many others that look quite this dramatic. It's almost like several unexpected asteroids recently crashed into the middle of the town, and the locals just decided to leave them there and carry on. Now admittedly, some of these buildings, like this restaurant, are not much more than a hollowed out cave with a wall plonked in front of it. But others are proper little houses, and this is the main reason I've come to Setenil, because some of the houses here are available for short-term rent as holiday homes. So if you've ever wanted to go and live under a rock, this is one of the few places where you actually can. However, it turns out that even if you're living under a rock these days, you still have a fully furnished kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, running water, electricity, broadband Wi-Fi, and a television. So after a few days of living here, and don't let anyone tell you this is not a proper piece of scientific research, I found I was just as aware of popular culture and international news as I was when I went in. I mean, I don't know, maybe I should have let the experiment run for longer. Or maybe I should have looked more closely at the photos before booking this house, because although it was technically under a rock, it wasn't one of the proper cave houses on the other side of the road, which is what I thought I was getting. But let's just say you live permanently in one of the cave houses. I think there are some things you would become more aware of, like for example, exactly how porous sandstone and limestone are, and how much you're going to have to spend on waterproofing to stop your roof from leaking. So with all that in mind, why do these people still live under a rock? Well, the simple answer is the weather. Today we've got a gorgeous blue sky and it is a very pleasant 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. But in Andalusia, that is what they call the winter. In summertime, temperatures in this region can reach over 40 degrees. And for those of you working in Fahrenheit, that is far too hot. But that's up on the plains surrounding the town. And a few centuries ago, the intelligent people of Setenil worked out that if they built their houses down at the bottom of the gorge, underneath the overhanging rock, sheltered from the heat of the sun, they could stay at a pleasant temperature the whole year round. Plus they could make an absolute fortune as soon as the place got discovered on Instagram. So there we go. Although it won't actually help you avoid the real world, there are some genuine advantages to living under a rock. Are those advantages really worth all the disadvantages? Well, I guess that's something most of us will never really know. Unless, of course, you've been living under a rock. And if you'd like to try living under a rock yourself, you can find holiday homes in Setenil using whatever your favourite online booking site is. But do be aware, not all the houses here are under a rock, and if you want one that is, you really need to check the photos first. Meanwhile, the easiest way to get here is by car, although not that easy, And there is a railway station too, but it is a 6-kilometre hike outside town. Not enough to stop me, but I wouldn't recommend doing that when it's 40 degrees. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.